Albert Einstein is remembered today as one of the greatest scientists in human history. His wild hair, thoughtful eyes, and famous equation E equals mc have become symbols of intelligence and creativity. But long before the world knew his name, Albert was simply a quiet boy who often felt out of place. This is the story of how curiosity, patience, and courage helped him change the way we understand the universe. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in the small city of Ulm, in Germany. His parents, Hermann and Pauline Einstein, were not scientists. His father worked as an engineer and salesman, and his mother loved music, especially playing the piano. From the beginning, Albert seemed different from other children. He spoke very late, and even when he began to talk, he often paused to think before answering. Some adults worried that he might not be very intelligent. No one could imagine how wrong they were. As a child, Albert was quiet and thoughtful. He did not enjoy memorizing facts or repeating lessons without understanding them. In school, teachers often became impatient with him because he asked too many questions or refused to accept answers that did not make sense to him. One teacher even told him that he would never amount to anything. These words hurt Albert, but they also pushed him to trust his own way of thinking. One moment from his childhood stayed with him forever. When Albert was about 5 years old, his father showed him a simple compass. Albert watched the needle move and always point north, even though nothing seemed to touch it. This small object filled him with wonder. He realized that invisible forces existed in the world, forces that could not be seen but still had power. That compass was one of the first sparks that lit his lifelong passion for understanding nature. As Albert grew older, he became deeply interested in mathematics and physics. Numbers and equations felt like a language that explained the universe clearly and honestly. Unlike words, math did not lie. When Albert was a teenager, he began teaching himself advanced mathematics far beyond what was taught in school. He would spend hours imagining problems, thinking about light, time, and space. However, Albert's school life did not improve much. He disliked strict rules and military-style discipline. Eventually, he left his school in Germany and moved to Switzerland, where the education system was more open and creative. There, he applied to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich. At first, he failed the entrance exam, not because he was bad at science, but because he struggled with subjects like languages and biology. Instead of giving up, Albert studied harder and tried again. This time, he succeeded. Even at university, Albert was not a perfect student. He skipped classes he found boring and preferred studying on his own or discussing ideas with friends. Professors were not impressed by his behavior, and when he graduated, he could not find a teaching job. This was a difficult and frustrating time in his life. While his classmates became professors and researchers, Albert felt left behind. Eventually, he found work at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. His job was to examine inventions and decide whether they were original. The work was not exciting, but it gave him something very valuable: time. During his long hours at the office, Albert quietly thought about physics. In the evenings, he worked on his own ideas, often discussing them with a small group of friends who called themselves the Olympia Academy. Then came the year 1905, later called Einstein's miracle year. In that single year, Albert published 4 scientific papers that would change physics forever. One explained the photoelectric effect, showing that light could behave like particles. Another described Brownian motion, proving that atoms really existed. The third introduced the special theory of relativity, which challenged traditional ideas about time and space. The fourth included the famous equation E equals mc, showing that energy and mass are connected. At first, many scientists did not understand or accept Albert's ideas. His theories were strange and went against common sense. According to Einstein, time could slow down, space could bend, and two people could experience the same event differently depending on how fast they were moving. These ideas were difficult to believe, but experiments slowly proved him right. In 1915, Albert presented his general theory of relativity, which explained gravity not as a force, but as the bending of space and time caused by massive objects. This theory was so complex that only a few people in the world truly understood it. In 1919, during a solar eclipse, scientists confirmed one of Einstein's predictions. Overnight, he became famous. Newspapers around the world called him a genius. Despite his fame, Albert remained humble and simple. He did not care much about money, fashion, or popularity. He preferred walking alone, playing the violin, and thinking deeply. Music was very important to him. He often said that when he was stuck on a problem, playing music helped him find solutions. Albert Einstein was not only a scientist, but also a humanist. He believed strongly in peace, freedom, and responsibility. After experiencing the horrors of World War I, he spoke out against violence and nationalism. Later, when Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany, Albert, who was Jewish, left the country and moved to the United States. He accepted a position at Princeton University, where he continued his research. One of the most complicated moments in Einstein's life came during World War II. Although he was a pacifist, he signed a letter warning the US government that Nazi Germany might develop atomic weapons. This letter helped lead to the creation of the atomic bomb. After the war, Albert deeply regretted the destruction caused by nuclear weapons and spent the rest of his life speaking against their use. In his later years, Albert Einstein became a symbol of wisdom. People asked him questions about science, life, happiness, and the future of humanity. He often answered with humor and simplicity. He believed that imagination was more important than knowledge, and that curiosity was the true source of learning. Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955. But his ideas continue to shape our world. Modern technologies such as GPS, space travel, and advanced physics all depend on his work. More importantly, his life reminds us that being different is not a weakness. It is often the beginning of greatness. The quiet boy who once struggled in school taught humanity to see the universe in a new way. Albert Einstein did not just change science, he changed how we think.